Have you ever stopped to wonder how or what our children are truly learning in school? I don't just mean the facts and figures, the dates of historical events, or the formulas for solving math problems. I mean the deeper skills that shape how they see the world and their place within it. As a woman without children of my own, I find myself thinking about the many kids I mentor, about my cousins, about my friends' kids, the children at church and in my neighborhood, and the kind of society they will inherit. It is a future quietly but profoundly shaped by decisions made today about our educational system. A subtle but powerful shift is underway. It could fundamentally alter the very purpose and direction of American education. It's a conversation we need to have now. We must talk as a family and as a community before the consequences become irreversible. Unfortunately, this isn't a topic that makes headlines every night. It's not as loud as a political debate. So what exactly is this critical thinking we talk so much about? It's not about being negative or argumentative. At its core, critical thinking is the disciplined process of actively and skillfully conceptualizing, applying, analyzing, synthesizing, evaluating information. Think of it as a toolkit for the mind. When we teach a child history, we can either have them memorize that the U.S. Civil War happened from 1861 to 1865, or we can teach them to analyze the economic, social, political causes that led to the conflict. The first approach teaches a fact. The second approach teaches a much wider understanding of the world. Major events have complex origins. History is a story of cause and effect. A lesson they can apply to understanding current events. Schools have traditionally been the primary place where this toolkit is developed. A good teacher doesn't just stand at the front of the room and dictate information. One of their primary functions is to initiate open-ended questions that challenge assumptions, which is essential for promoting deeper understanding and independent learning. If we were to remove critical thinking from our classrooms, the effects would be widespread, touching every aspect of our society. It's not a simple black and white issue. Some might even see short-term benefits. First, curricula would become highly standardized and easier to test, leading to more uniform educational metrics across states. Second, classroom instruction could become faster, covering more topics superficially as there would be no time spent on debate or analysis. Third, it could reduce classroom conflicts over sensitive or divisive historical and social topics. Fourth, for some, it might appear to reinforce respect for authority, as students are taught to accept information from teachers and texts without question. Fifth, in the short term, it might be cheaper, requiring fewer resources than teachers using more advanced ways of teaching, such as problem solving and interactive methods that go beyond simple lectures. Sixth, it could lead to higher scores on standardized tests based on simple fact recall. However, the negative consequences paint a much darker picture for the long term. Seventh, our students would be more susceptible to scams, political propaganda, and fake news, lacking the skills to evaluate information. Eighth, the nation's capacity for innovation in science, technology, and the arts would plummet, as groundbreaking work requires questioning the status quo. Ninth, the workforce would become less adaptable, unable to solve complex problems, a critical skill in a globalized economy. 10th, democratic participation would suffer as citizens would be less equipped to make informed decisions about complex policies and candidates. Imagine it is the year 2045. It has been 20 years since our nation's schools systematically shifted their focus away from critical thinking and towards rote memorization. The first generation of students raised under this new educational philosophy is now in its late 20s and early 30s, entering the workforce and starting families. Political discourse has become dangerously shallow. Debates are no longer about policy details. They are shouting matches of slogans, emotionally charged claims, and unverified assertions. People align with political tribes based on feelings and loyalty, not on a reasoned analysis of platforms. Misinformation spreads like wildfire, and correcting it is nearly impossible. In the workplace, American industries would have lost their competitive edge. The great innovations that once defined our countries in technology, in medicine, and in engineering have slowed to a crawl. Why? Because innovation is born from questioning, from challenging assumptions, from seeing a problem and thinking of a new way to solve it. The workforce of 2045 would be proficient at following instructions and performing repetitive tasks. For families, the change is heartbreaking. As a parent in 2045, you might find it difficult to have a deep conversation with your adult children about important issues. They may be able to recite facts given to them by media personalities or authority figures, but they would struggle to articulate their own independent thoughts. You would see their vulnerability to financial scams, get-rich-quick schemes, and conspiracy theories. In 2025, the choice is ours. Will we protect the freedom of thought we still hold, or will we let it slip away? Remember, choose wisely. This message is brought to you by Novelistic Network. If it resonates with you, leave a comment or subscribe for more personal growth content.